Welcome back to the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button as well as a thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Apple, Spotify, or Google, please leave a 5-star rating and review. This content is brought to you by Uphold, which makes crypto investing easy. I've been using Uphold since 2017. They have 10 plus million users, 250 plus cryptocurrencies, and they're available in 150 countries. You can also buy and sell equities and precious metals on Uphold. As with all exchanges, you want to buy and sell on them, but you want to custody your own crypto, not your keys, not your coins. If you'd like to learn more about Uphold, please visit the link in the description. All right, my friends, all eyes are on Bitcoin right now because it looks like it's making a move to $24,000. It's looking very strong. It's at $23,682 at the time of recording, and that could happen by tomorrow. The $24,000 could happen by tomorrow. On the charts, from a macro perspective, still looking good, still looking like Bitcoin is doing this retracement, or I should say the reversal up to $40,000 to $50,000. That's not guaranteed, that's not confirmed, but we're looking at it day by day, week by week, and forming a thesis. We're looking at the support levels and how it's moving. So it's going to be a big week. I think Bitcoin could head to $25,000 this week. If we look here on the hourly chart, still looking very good. And, it may make another big move up here and then, continue to chop sideways, find support levels, I should say, and then continue to move upwards, maybe to $28,000 before we see like a correction, maybe back down to 20,000. Now, that doesn't mean that the reversal to $40,000 to $50,000 is off the table. It just means that Bitcoin had a very strong move this month, and nothing goes up in a straight line, so it's going to build support levels and keep working its way back up. So we want to be prepared for all scenarios. But what's significant about this week is we have the Fed will be coming out and talking about the next rate hike. Everyone is anticipating 25 basis points as the next rate hike, but we never know. They could come out and be very hawkish and say, here's 50 basis points or 75 basis points, right? We don't know. And Wednesday, February 1st is going to be the day. If they do come out with 25 basis points, I think the markets are going to feel very confident about that because they've already started to feel confident because as mentioned before, we're over the hill with this rate hike, and the Fed is now ramping down, right? Their foot is on the brake. They're not done yet, but their foot is on the brake, and there's no longer going to be 75 basis points, 50 basis points. They're slowing down, and we expect them to stop maybe by the middle of this year, and then there's going to be a pause, of course, and then I think eventually they will start cutting rates as things start to calm down the economy and then start printing money again into 2024. That's personally how I'm looking at it. That's how things have played out historically. And when you look at the numbers, whether it be layoffs and jobs and the job numbers and even inflation and so forth, I think signs are pointing to the ramp down. So that's good for markets, right? Because they're going to go back to money printing, the status quo, the Fed that is, and we know asset prices pump. So this week, once again, huge week ahead. The FOMC meeting on Wednesday, where they will talk about the rate hikes. You also have some big companies doing their earnings calls on Thursday, Apple, Amazon, and Google. So we shall see how things play out. And once again, the market will be affected by that. We're in a macro environment where the Fed and these central banks are controlling the interest rates, and that's sucking a lot of liquidity out of the economy. We are in a recession. Whether they want to change the definition of a recession, I think we are in one. Whether we're in a deep recession or a shallow, that's maybe up for debate, but I think we are in a recession. And what we continue to see is the DXY, the dollar continues to drop. It continues to correct after its peak. So that's another signal. And we see, assets like the stock market and Bitcoin and crypto are moving in the opposite direction. They're going up. So once again, when the dollar is not performing well, asset prices go up. So these are all signals that, once again, there's light at the end of the tunnel. We're not out of the woods yet. So I want to make sure that's clear, there's still more pain, but I think we're out of the max pain zone. Now we're in the normal pain zone, if you were to, use that analogy. So I'm expecting continued move upwards, but, as always, markets move in cycles in the short term as well as the long term. So expect some sort of pullback for Bitcoin, and we'll see at what price it does that at. I am personally waiting for the $40,000 to $50,000 range to start taking some profits on Bitcoin. And of course, as the altcoins move with Bitcoin, we're seeing Ethereum moving, we're seeing XRP, BNB, Cardano, you name it, they're moving. And this is not going to be a move to new all-time highs, but another opportunity to take profits. And I want to emphasize, guys, if you didn't take profits in 2021, now's your chance. So, you want to make sure that you are taking profits where needed, because we've gone through a really hard bear market with a lot of collapses, and you see how painful it is. So I have, certainly some crypto that I'm holding long term. I'm not touching for like the next 10 years, but I would say about 60 to 70% of my holdings, I'm taking profits. I took profits in 2021, and I am, making sure that I'm getting the capital I need to do what I need to do and have financial freedom. And then, of course, I reinvest some of those profits back into the market to, at the lows. So just being transparent about how I'm making money in this market and how I'm navigating it. You have to do your own research. You should talk to a financial advisor, of course. But the market cycles are playing out. And there's actually a really great chart I want to share with you guys from Kelly Kalam, who's part of the HIT Network and BitBoy Crypto. Man, this is just a really, really great chart here. Let me pull up the image more closer. It just talks about market cycles, which I've talked about for years. The title of the chart here is Bitcoin Smart Money / Dumb Money Market Cycle Action Map. You want to be buying the fear, the blood on the streets, right? You want to go contrary to the herd when everybody, the retail crowd and everybody's scared, they're worried, they're selling, at the bottom when you're supposed to be buying at the bottom, and you sell the top, you sell the euphoria, right? And it's hard to break out of that because, people are trained through financial media and just not learning about investing, and they follow herd mentality. They hear somebody's making money off of Bitcoin, and that's usually, near the top, and they're like, oh, I bet I gotta jump in, and then, now's the time to buy. And it's like, no, that's not the time to buy. The time to buy is when everybody's scared, when there's blood on the streets. And that's how great investors do well, and they make a really great ROI. And guys like Warren Buffett and many others. So this chart here just shows the different peaks and valleys of market cycle, and it kind of uses the Wall Street cheat sheet of the psychology, the investing psychology, and it also shows Bitcoin's movements, where you have these rallies, whether it be suckers rallies and the disbelief phase. So right now, this chart highlights we're in the disbelief phase, and then it shows like Bitcoin could run up to about 30,000, then have a pullback, kind of what I alluded to in the previous chart. And but that is another accumulation opportunity. And here Bitcoin runs into its pre-halving pump, which could also be called a reversal, from the lows here, but not to new all-time highs. Then it corrects, and then it moves up slow and steady into the next halving, into the next bull run peak of 2025. And this is what we saw historically, right? You look at the 2018, 2019 cycle, very similar move up. So this is how I personally invest. I leave my emotions to the side, and as difficult as it may be, I'm following the market cycles. I bought, Bitcoin at 16, 17,000. No one can, correctly call the bottom or the top, but at least you want to use the charts to give an indication of, oh, we're close. We're close. I don't know what the exact number is going to be, but we're close. So whether it be near the bottom, it's close for me to buy the lows. Whether it be at the top, it's time for me to sell and take profits. So I hope that, this is helpful to many of you who are new to the market. Understanding the cycles, it's so important. People get caught, once again, in the herd mentality. They see CNBC Fast Money, Fox, CNN, whoever. is talking about Bitcoin and crypto and say, oh, the price is going up, that's usually a bad sign, right? Because then everybody's paying attention and the herd is, trying to jump in at that point while institutions and smart money are taking their profits. And this doesn't just apply to crypto, it applies to the stock market and other assets as well. So this is a really, really great chart here. I actually downloaded it, I bookmarked it. So you guys can, of course, go follow Kelly Kellam here on Twitter and just bookmark this. It's something to go back to figure out where are we in the cycle. If it's a year from now, you could look at this chart and say, okay, we had our pre-halving pump and now we're moving slow and steadily upward. So really, really great chart here. Now, I often talk about the funding that is happening within the crypto industry and asset class because it's an indication of growth, of expansion, and just more capital coming into the market. And I've often talked about the companies that are investing in the infrastructure of this market. Of course, they're doing that to see a return. They're not looking to lose their money. And in order for these companies, which are part of the infrastructure of the crypto market, to do well, guess what? The token values have to go up. The tokens have to get adoption, right? So this is the connection of dots and logic that many people miss. They ignore, oh, this company got funding. Who cares? Was my token up? But it's like, no, you got to look at the bigger picture here, right? A lot of these companies are building on and off ramps for crypto that will usher in more adopters and builders and investors, which will lead to higher prices. And folks, once again, it's a hard concept to understand sometimes, but I pay a huge attention to the investment and funding news that's happening in the market. So here we got crypto infrastructure is all the rage as far as the Blockworks funding roundup. Blockstream secures $125 million. QuickNode lands $60 million. So these firms continue to get money. So there was a significant funding this past week. Among them was Blockstream, which landed $125 million in a convertible note from London-based Kingsway Capital, with participation from Bitcoin-focused Fulgur Ventures. The overall infrastructure trend isn't necessarily new, but such efforts do appear to be escalating. The latest capital haul follows the firm's Series B in August 2021, when the company procured $210 million from investors to expand mining facilities and acquire Spondoolies, a crypto mining gear startup. Eric Svensson, Blockstream's president and chief financial officer, said in a statement that the fundraise allows the companies to accelerate its year-over-year revenue growth and build infrastructure for the future Bitcoin economy. Let's jump ahead to the next one. Another infrastructure company that corralled funding this week was QuickNode. The end-to-end development platform closed a $60 million Series B led by 10T Holdings. By the way, 10T is Dan Tapiero. I've had him on the podcast, and he's got some huge funds dedicated to crypto. Other investors who participated in the round include Tiger Global, 776, Protocol Labs, and QED. The latest funding brings QuickNode's total valuation to $800 million and will be used to grow the company's international presence. Here's a quote: "The long-term health and success of Web3 are dependent on scalability, accessibility, and interoperability," said Alexis Ohanian, founder of 776, which also invested in the company's seed round. And many of you may recognize that name, Alexis Ohanian. He's, of course, a founder of Reddit. So the money's coming in. Here's a smaller round in a smaller fundraising effort. Tolos, an MPC wallet platform similar to Fireblocks, landed pre-seed funding of $1.5 million. Guys, this is a great sign. Despite the bear market, despite all the collapses we saw last year, capital is still flowing into these companies that are building the bridges, the tunnels, the on and off ramps for crypto, right? And once again, Dan Tapiero at 10T Holdings, as an example, he doesn't want to lose that, millions of dollars, that $50, $60 million. He wants to make a return. He wants to double that, triple that, right? But they know that we have a long-term horizon. They know it's all market cycles. The bull market will come back, and they're, entering in at the low valuations in the bear market. And they know the token values are going to go up, and that's what's going to help these companies to grow and all that. So I hope you guys see it. I hope you understand the holistic view of this asset class. Now, South Korea to deploy cryptocurrency tracking system in 2023. The virtual currency tracking system will be used to monitor transaction history, extract information related to transactions, and check the source of funds before and after remittance. So South Korea is huge with crypto trading. The volume that comes out there is pretty crazy. And they're not the only ones, of course, but we're seeing governments around the world are building infrastructure as well to help monitor, put guardrails in place, and track things accordingly. So they're just doing their due diligence. And once again, the juxtaposition to, these rules and regulation is a ban, right? They're not banning this asset class as some people have tried to say and try to spread the FUD that they are. They are allowing it to happen, and they're putting the guardrails in place. So the virtual currency tracking system will be used to monitor transaction history, extract information related to transactions, and check the source of funds before and after remittance, according to local media outlet KH Games, if that's right. While the system is slated to be deployed in the first half of 2023, the South Korean ministry shared plans to develop an independent tracking and analysis system in the second half of the year. A rough translation of the ministry's statements read, in response to the sophistication of crime, we will improve the forensic infrastructure. We will build a criminal justice system that meets international standards and so forth. So this all makes sense to me. It's actually very bullish news. Some people may read it and be like, oh, let's see, the governments are doing this. But once again, they're not banning it. And you can still trade and you can still own it. They just want to stop the bad actors, right? I have no problem with these governments stopping bad actors. Hell, I wish our government did a better job of stopping Sam Bankman-Fried, right? And Celsius. So I think all this makes sense. And this is the infrastructure that is going to be needed to put into place to safeguard and protect consumers and investors and allow for more capital to come into the asset class. So this is big news in my opinion. Now, finally, Panama's Supreme Court to rule on cryptocurrency legislation. The High Court will now decide whether to declare the crypto bill unenforceable or approve it with modifications. So once again, the theme here, world governments, everybody, all these governments, they're building CBDCs and they're putting rules and regulations in place for crypto. So Panama's crypto bill saga has reached a new chapter, with the country's Supreme Court set to decide the future of the local crypto industry. Panamanian President Laurentino Cortizo on January 26 sent the crypto legislation passed last year to the High Court for review, claiming the so-called crypto bill violates the Constitution's core principles and is unenforceable. The Supreme Court must now decide whether to declare Bill number 697 unenforceable or approve it with modifications. According to an official statement, the president's office considers Articles 34 and 36 of the bill unenforceable because they violate the state's separation of powers and establish administrative structures within the government. So these governments, of course, in every country, they have their own rules, constitution, and all that. They'll eventually get it right. There's going to be back and forth. I mean, just hell, look at the United States, right? We can't even figure out what the hell the SEC is going to do and the CFTC. It's a path, and we're on that path. We're on the road. It can be painful and slow sometimes, but we're getting there. And this just shows, guys, crypto is a global asset class. It is here to stay. No one's banning it. Yes, I know some people say, dude, China banned it. But guess what? People are still trading. They're still mining in China. It's hard to enforce, and of course they're going to do that. I think they did that to introduce their digital yuan, their CBDC. But I've been on record that China will eventually have to revert that ban, even though they haven't been doing a great job at enforcing it. Because this is the future. This is going to drive the economy, the GDP, and so forth. So I think eventually those who are even naysayers and so forth, they're going to have to bend the knee. We've seen disruptive technology can't be stopped. It's going to keep growing, keep getting adoption. So we're once again, all this is good news, even though from the macro, even though in the micro and some of the nuances here are a bit off, there's still everybody's moving in the same direction, and that's when you look at it from the macro. All right, guys, that's the news. What do you think will happen with Bitcoin this week? You think we could see 25,000? You think the Fed is going to do the 25 basis points hike, and we see some rally here? Don't be surprised if Bitcoin has a pullback. That will be normal. That will be natural. And we'll go from there, but still looking really strong. I know some bears are out there saying, see, bull trap, but let's see what happens, guys. Always be prepared for anything. It's about probabilities. There are no guarantees. While you may not agree with bears or bulls, which depending on what side of the aisle you're on, you still have to make sure you keep their scenario in the back of your mind, because it's a probability, right? Anything can happen. Markets can do things that people at least expect, and there could be black swan events that drive the price down, or it could be great news that drives the price up. Just be prepared for all scenarios. For example, I've said if the price goes back down, I will continue to dollar cost average. If the price goes to $40,000 to $50,000, I'll be cashing out and grabbing up some some fresh dollars, all right, and using that accordingly. So just letting you guys know, you gotta put your emotions to the side and be prepared for everything. All right, guys, let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button, share this video, and I'll talk to you all later.